Good afternoon and welcome to the program. I'm very pleased today to have with me a Florida State University 30 under 30 honoree, a public speaker, a relationship manager, a 3-time open heart surgery survivor, and the author of the newly released For the Strong Girls, Miss Natalie Nolan. Welcome, Natalie.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you. It's wonderful. So I know page 1 or 2 of your book, you start out with why I wrote this book. But for those who perhaps haven't had an opportunity to pick it up yet, why did you write this book?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wrote For the Strong Girls for a variety of reasons, but I'll just read the first two sentences and then get into it. And so the first two sentences of why I wrote this book say, the first word I ever remember being described as was strong. For my entire life, my identity was rooted in being able to overcome. And so I wrote For the Strong Girls to mainly let people everywhere know that what they are going through is normal and the emotions and mental struggles are completely normal and mental health needs to be talked about. It should be talked about. I think we're finally entering that conversation. But more specifically, I wrote this book to focus on the often unspoken about mental struggles that accompany growing up sick or with a disability. So as you said in the beginning, I myself have had 3 open heart surgeries. I have a very rare condition called Epstein anomaly. And I always say that, and I believe I say this in the first 2 pages, everyone warned me about the physical symptoms. They said there was going to be chest pains. I would have trouble breathing throughout my life. Potentially my lips could turn blue. But no one told me about the mental struggles, the anxiety that I would have for the rest of my life, the depression spurts that could come about, just a variety of things that I think need to be talked about and are so important about to be spoken about. And so a huge reason of why I wrote For the Strong Girls is I have a goal of having this book in hospitals nationwide to help cardiology departments, child life specialists, oncology, whatever type of person and or child or teenager who is going through a very intense either disability or sickness to know this often unspoken mental struggle that they're about to go through. And as I said in the beginning, overall, anyone can read this book to remind themselves that being strong and soft can coexist. And while whatever you're going through, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a sickness, whether it's just generally life being hard, being a human is hard, you can be strong, and that's amazing, and it's beautiful to have strength. But you're also allowed to acknowledge that there is no, diamond made without pressure, but that's still a lot of pressure, and it's okay to not have it on you at all times.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to your point, you say it's for the strong girls, but really it's for the strong boys, for the strong men, strong women, anyone perhaps who's facing a challenge and needs some reassurance and some support.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when I was working with editors and we were talking about the title For the Strong Girls, I got a lot of pushback. But when I did market research, I realized that some people, especially women, they will go for something if it's more targeted towards them. So that's why I wanted to say For the Strong Girls. However, like you said, this book's for anyone. It doesn't matter how you identify. This book is for anyone who's going through something that they're struggling with. It's a poetry book broken up into 4 chapters, and anyone can pick it up and feel free to read through and feel comfort throughout the book.
Absolutely. And one of your entries in particular kind of struck me. Waves of sadness. You write, "You're so strong," they say, "as the water gets deep, threatening to consume me whole. But I don't want to be strong. I want to build sandcastles." It strikes me as you were a strong kid, but you didn't want to have to be strong all the time. You wanted to be a normal kid. Is that accurate?
Yes. So like you said, Waves of Sadness, it's the first poem in the book, and I specifically did that to capitalize on sort of the intensity of what I was going through. I think people, and it's everything comes from a good heart of individuals. Growing up, everyone always looked at me and said, "You're so strong. Oh my gosh, I think of you when I'm going through something hard." Still to this day, I'll get people who will get their wisdom teeth taken out, and they'll text me saying something like, "Yeah, it was awful, but I thought about what you went through." And it is coming from such a kind place. But this poem specifically, I remember in my youth, people would say this to me and thinking in the back of my head, I don't want to be strong. I want to build sandcastles. I want to be just like the rest of the kids. I want to be looked at with this sense of innocence that I'm not unbreakable and I, should be watched after and I should be protected. And I'm not saying that the people in my life didn't do that. I have amazing caregivers. I was so lucky. However, what I am saying is I think we look at, people who maybe have a disability or have gone through something like a heart surgery or childhood cancer or liver transplants or anything of that nature. And we just want to look at them and say, you're so strong. It's amazing what you've gone through. While that is true, they are still a kid and they still crave and want that innocence that we all do. It's almost like, when you're older and you're still sick and you sometimes think you were lucky enough to have a parent around when you were young. Oh, I wish my mom was here to make me chicken noodle soup and, put a warm washcloth on my head. And so Waves of Sadness is really about just craving that innocence and wanting everyone to know that you're thankful that they see you as this warrior and this hero. But at the end of the day, you just want to be a kid, just like every other kid.
Absolutely. Are there that just struck me? It really did, and thank you for confirming. Are there other passages that are particularly some of your favorites that maybe be able to share with us?
Yeah. I'm going to one right now. I'm super excited. So I'm going to give you two, but this first one is called Be Good, Not Great. And so the poem goes like this. We live in a world that tells us don't do things unless you are great. Well, I'm not a great writer, yet I write. And I wouldn't call myself a great fighter, yet I fought. And this poem was really inspired by my late grandmother. Her name was Teresa Nolan. She had 11 children. She went back, finished law school early after having all of her kids. And she constantly reminded me that do not be so obsessed with this idea of greatness that it stops you from just being good at things. And I truly don't think I would have been able to write this book if it wasn't for her, because I don't think I'm an incredible writer. I don't think the Pulitzer is in my future, maybe, but I don't know. And
Why not?
yeah, maybe shoot for the moon, right? But what I really wanted to, capture with this is if I would have waited to be perfect or great, for something like heart surgery, it would have never happened. And so when we're put up against the wall and faced with something, we're told just go for it, just go after it. And I think that we only think we can do that in moments of intensity or things like surgery or things that require that of us. However, we can have that in everyday life, right? Like if you want to learn how to knit, just start. If you want to learn how to become a great podcaster or voice person, just start. Because all the greats in the world started somewhere. And in a world that's so obsessed with social media, we're constantly being showed the highlight reel, not the background story. And it's really important to know that it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a grind to get to anything you want in life. And sometimes it's okay to just be good at things. It's okay to just try and enjoy things. And you don't have to be the greatest. You don't have to be searching for that Olympic medal. You just need to be good if that's what you want to be. Just try and do and put your art out there and put yourself out there.
For all of us, it all starts with that first step.
Yes.
No matter what position you're born to in life, who you are or who you want to be, it all starts with taking a chance and not being perfect. So.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, and then this next poem, it's funny when you write it and you're like, I love this, because I feel like you're used to writing that about other people. So this one is called Stained Glass, and all of the poems are super short, like I said in the beginning, 4 chapters. They're broken up into resiliency, realization, rest and recovery, and survivorship. And so this one is from Realization. And it says, For I have picked up the shattered glass of my past and turned it into a reflection of light. Only strong women can build empathy from emptiness. And I think there's a famous Margaret Thatcher quote, I believe, that she talks about, you don't realize how strong women are until they're put in hot water. They're like tea bags, and then you see their strength. And again, this book is for everyone. It's not just for women. I think it takes a strong person to go through something that was meant to break them. So for me, that was, this diagnosis that I got at birth, where every doctor told my mom things are going to be really hard for her. Just know. And I look at this book that I created for something that I could have looked at my whole life as something awful that I went through and something that hurt me, but I chose to pour my heart, pun intended, into what I've always loved, which is writing poetry and create something from my sadness, from what I went through, and build it as a reflection of light. And the responses I've gotten from people all across the sector who just haven't even grown up sick, like I said in the beginning, who are just going through something hard. Or, I got a beautiful note from somebody who's struggling really hard right now to get pregnant. And they're saying this book really helped me because I didn't even know what I was feeling until I read it. And so for me, building empathy from emptiness, I remember that point where I was just like, why is this happening to me? But I chose to take, the shattered glass and turn it into a reflection of light, not only for others, but also for myself.
Boy, what a rewarding thing for you as an author to know that you've touched people with your words, which ultimately I think would be the goal of anyone who's writing, not just to share information, but to truly touch people. And I know, having read the book, it touched me as well. And I would encourage our listeners, pick the book up for yourself and pick it up for someone special in your life, someone who may be going through some challenges and could enjoy and get something out of the book. And it's available on Amazon. Is that right, Natalie?
Yes, so it's available on Amazon. If you type in For the Strong Girls, it should be the first thing that pops up. And you can go in, read the reviews for yourself in case you don't believe me or John, which you should. But if you don't, go in, see what people are saying. And yeah, like John said, Amazon For the Strong Girls, you can find it there. I also work specifically, if anyone listens to this and works at a hospital, I'm currently working with University of Florida. They did a bulk order, so I have a specific pricing for hospitals and wholesalers as well off Amazon, to have it as a resource in hospitals or bookstores or anything else at a lower rate. And so that information can be found by connecting with me on LinkedIn. Natalie Nolan, it's the name that's connected with the book, and I would be more than happy to speak with anyone about that. But also, again, just buy the book for yourself, personal use, and have it used.
And I believe you make appearances as well, Natalie. Is that right?
Yes, yes, I do. So I've been lucky enough to do a few public speaking rotations with this book. I speak on a variety of topics about, growing up sick, how it's been with a disability, overcoming fears, focusing on the book. I really try to tailor the content that I speak about to the audience. So I work with different groups. I have been able to work with hospitals, law firms, etc., about what they want me to really focus on, and then I connect it back to the book. So an example of one that I recently did was just not being, sort of the poem that we were talking about, not being afraid to start at any point in life. That life kind of is a NASCAR race, and you have to be able to get back on the track. Sometimes a tire might fall off, sometimes you might flip over, but don't let the fear of failing stop you from getting out there. And so that was a really, really special talk. But I do appearance. Same as well, you connect with me on LinkedIn. More than happy to email anyone, natgenemanagement@gmail.com. But LinkedIn is the best way to connect, and I can move forward from there, and would love to speak via Zoom or in person at any event you have coming up.
Wonderful. Well, definitely a set of inspiring words from a very inspiring writer. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and wish you the best of luck. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for interviewing, John. It's been so awesome, and I'm looking forward to the next time we chat.
Wonderful. Take care.
Thank you.